You are changing, and there's nothing you can do about it. The circumstances of your existence are in constant flux, as every action sends ripples through existence, and the universe is always in action. All data is both reality and fantasy, says Bato at one point in the seminal 1995 Mamoru Oshii classic Ghost in the Shell, a film that uses the setting and characters of the beloved sci-fi police procedural manga to refocus one of its stories into a meditation on the nature of identity, and what it means to change as a living organism. What does it mean for all data to be reality and fantasy? Just simply that the data we reference to contextualize what is happening is merely memory. It's constructed by our own perception of our sensory intake, and heavily corrupted as it's recalled over time. Even our present tense existence is only held together by the data transfer between constantly moving molecules. It is structurally shaky and questionably not a projection. Bato also points out that there is a ton of data in existence, and any one person has only a small amount. There is no one that you can ask what's going on and get an accurate answer, only what they happen to know, which could easily contradict someone else's understanding. We operate on understandings that we are convinced of, but we are never anywhere close to the full picture, and even as a species on the whole, we never will be. In the universe of Ghost in the Shell, technology exists to have your entire body and most of your brain cyborgized, and the net is accessible directly through the brain. As a nearly complete cyborg at the start of the film, Motoko Kusanagi has pondered the question of how much of what she currently considers to be her reality is actually real. Besides the fact that her body was mostly built by the government, who could easily have planted false memories into her brain, as we see happen to someone else in the film, she has also spent so much time deep diving and radically affecting the culture of the net that she can hardly tell how much of what she thinks of herself comes from her own thinking anymore. Even if she didn't have that unique problem though, memory can be just as tricky for regular people. We are constantly having our own jumbled thoughts and feelings, as well as all of the fantasy and information being pushed at us at all times, skewing our worldviews into believing that the world operates on a wholly fabricated idea of social paradigm. We learn in the film that when a brain is dubbed into a cyberbrain, there is a loss of information in the process. But this is already true of when we form a memory out of the sensory data which we were exposed to at the moment of the memory's formation, just as it is for recompressed data in a computer. We are always in a constant stream of gaining and losing information as it beams through the senses. What we pack away into our memories is only what seemed important to hold on to, information that is going to affect our behaviors and understandings going forward. No one in this film understands the flowing nature of identity like the Puppet Master, a program which achieved sentience and a feeling of self-justified existence from gathering data on the web. As per Puppet Master's argument, there's nothing which really makes them unworthy of being considered as a life form, but they do have a couple of regrets: the inabilities to die and to propagate themselves as a normal human would. When Motoko first sees the Puppet Master, her immediate thought is that they seem exactly like herself. This suspicion holds water when we learn that a big part of what created the Puppet Master's identity was their exposure to Motoko's net presence. In some strange way, the Puppet Master was already partially her own creation, which is what led them to come to her for the sake of fulfilling their goals. What does it mean to propagate yourself, and what does it mean to die, absent of being actually able to literally have children, thus passing on your genetic information, or ceasing to live, silencing your consciousness? Metaphorically at least, we do both things constantly. Every action we take has a rippling effect which cascades through the net of interaction. We are constantly producing the offsprings of our ideas, merging our thought processes closer as we communicate and become the people that we make one another into. Every time something affects us, we are no longer who we used to be, even if we still carry the half-deteriorated memory of what we think we used to be around with us. It is out of fear of having these effects on the world or of being changed ourselves that many of us retreat from society. We don't want to have an effect on anything or to be affected by anything because we fear the unraveling of consequences and our inability to handle them. But we are always having an effect anyways on a level above our view. We are creating problems that we haven't thought about, and we are furthering the wealth of people we will never know. It is impossible to have existed and to have been ineffective. But most people can't let go. We want there to be something real, something core to us that we trust and rely on to get us through. All throughout Ghost in the Shell, Bato is combative with Motoko's existential thoughts, preferring to rely on his assured sense of self. Once you doubt, you can't stop, he warns, as Motoko pines on whether everything is fake or not. But, as is also warned in the film, over-specialization leads to death. In an ever-evolving world, you need to be ready for the rug to be pulled out from under you. You can't simply go on being the same person you always were in a world where that person can no longer exist, unless you're willing to die for it. At that point, you're working in denial of the present, lost in the memories that aren't real anymore, just like any other daydreamer. At the end of the film, the puppet master and Motoko are sharing a direct mental link between unmovable, broken-down bodies, as snipers ready to end their lives from helicopters above. Puppet Master tells Motoko that her desire to remain the same is what limits her, and that she needs to join the higher structure. After all, the more information you allow to pass through you, the better a node you can be, a better meeting point of the threads of the web. There is nowhere to go but forward, and the ground is moving under you, so what's the point in standing still? What are you so afraid of losing? Your life? Good luck keeping that one up forever. At the end of Ghost in the Shell, both Motoko Kusanagi and the Puppet Master are dead. The body that their merged consciousness now inhabits might be thought of as the child born of their merger, but neither was ever just themselves in the first place. They were always so many experiences of so many people, and will only become even more things as they move on. After all, the net is limitless. What isn't limitless is my supply of these sick new hand-printed Digi-Collection t-shirts that I'm selling now. Just like Motoko, you can gaze into the dark abyss of human consciousness with the Void Gazer design. Or you can yourself become a human machine, maybe one dedicated to content. Or hey, you can just explain to all your friends that anime is a Japanese colloquialism that comes from shortening the word animation. If you want to hear more about Ghost in the Shell, I recommend the new series that my friend Best Guy Ever has started, talking about the series in extensive depth, along with an excellent Hamilton parody song. And you should also check out the show that we now do together called Content, where we talk about currently airing popular anime every 4 episodes. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you in the next one.